Good morning student friends. In this video we will see crucible furnace used in the foundry industry. Now this crucible furnace is a batch type of furnace. It is not a continuous furnace, or this is not used for the mass production. Again, these are the small capacity furnace. We have seen cupola furnace is having capacity of 16 ton. Again, induction furnace is again having capacity of 10 to 15 ton. Again, direct arc furnace has a capacity of up to 125 ton, and electric arc furnace is also having that capacity. That is, direct arc furnace is a type of electric arc furnace having capacity of 125 ton, and indirect arc furnace is having a lower capacity, that is about 10 to 15 ton. This crucible furnace is also having a lower capacity. This is not having capacity like a direct arc furnace. Now here we will see, this is a crucible furnace. In this crucible furnace, the metal charge is placed and melted in a crucible, means um, desired amount of the metal charge is taken inside the crucible and it is melted. This crucible furnace may be coke fired furnace, oil or gas fired furnace. Understood? There are different types of furnaces. That crucible furnace may be classified as coke fired or oil and gas fired furnaces. The crucible is made up of silicon carbide, graphite or other refractory material. Generally we are using this silicon carbide or graphite as a material for making this crucible, because these materials does not have any effect of the temperature of the coke as well as molten metal. These crucibles are available in different sizes, that is number 1 to number 400. Types of various crucibles are available in the industry. This crucible furnaces consist of a steel shell which is again lined with refractory lining inside. Furnace is used for melting of non-ferrous metals, alloys, cast iron and steel. Maximum time we are using this crucible furnace for melting of the non-ferrous metal, because non-ferrous metals are having lower melting point as compared to ferrous, and they are rarely used for melting of steel or cast iron. Now there are 5 different types of crucible furnaces: pit crucible furnace of bailout type, crucible furnace of tilting type, stationary gas or oil fired crucible furnace, and stationary coke fired crucible furnace. All these are the 5 types of crucible furnaces used in the industry. One by one we will see. This is the pit crucible furnace. In the previous lecture we have seen pit means a dig, जमिनीला खणलेला खड्डा, that is called as a pit. Now you can see here 3 crucibles are there. That crucibles are placed below the ground level, means they are placed inside the crucibles. Inside the ground level they are having cover at the top. This GL means ground level. This is burning of fuel. From this point burning of the fuel will takes place, and the flames of that burning, after burning of the fuel, that flames are swirling on the surface of this crucible, and the metal charge will absorb the heat and it will convert it into liquid state. That is working. This crucible is placed in a pit below the ground level. This furnace may be coke, oil or gas fired furnace. Molten metal does not come in contact with the fuel. That's why pure quality of molten metal we will get, because you can see in the figure these crucibles are covered at the top. That's why coke, oil or gas will not enter inside this crucible. That's why pure quality of the metal we will get. In coke fired furnace, this coke is packed around the crucible, means on the top or along the sides the coke is placed. The coke has been ignited, and the compressed air required for the combustion is passed through this channel, and due to compressed air, here the coke will reach a stage of maximum combustion and it will give heat to the metal charge placed inside the crucible. Now when the metal is ready for pouring, one by one these crucibles are taken out by removing the covers. By removing the covers one by one, that crucibles are taken out and they are taken to the pouring station. That is the working of this pit type crucible furnace. This furnace is again a small capacity furnace, may be fired by coke, oil or gas. And here at the top, after burning of the fuel, the gases are produced. Their gases are escaping to the environment by the natural draft, means no any kind of blower or the fan we are using for the removal of gases, it is again a natural draft. Means due to natural air circulation, the gases are escaped to the environment. This is the pit crucible furnace. We can see here the figure of pit crucible furnace. GL is the ground level. We have digged one pit in the ground and we have placed these three crucible. Material of the crucible may be graphite or silicon carbide. These crucibles are ranging from number 1 to number 400 according to different sizes. This pit crucible furnace, again this is the second design for the pit crucible furnace. It is the steel shell lined with refractory lining from the inner surface. You can see at the center this black color is the steel shell which is lined with refractory lining from the inside, and this pit is having, again this is the pit, this is placed in below the ground level, and this is made up of concrete structure is there. Inside that steel shell is there, and that steel shell is lined with refractory lining, and at the center crucible is placed, and around that crucible the coke is placed. And here we can use natural or forced draft, means supplying of compressed air for the burning of coke is supplied by natural or forced draft. Coke fired pit furnace, the coke bed is formed and ignited and allowed to burn. Initially we have to form the coke bed, it is ignited and that coke is allowed to burn. As and when this coke will reach the stage of maximum combustion, the coke bed is shifted towards the sides, that is left side and right side, and at the center we are placing the crucible in which solid metal charge is placed. Now this crucible will absorb the heat due to convection from the coke, and that heat is given to the metal charge. A blower provides the air for combustion of the coke. After combustion, the coke is converted into ash, and here this space is left for removing the ash. After burning of coke, whatever ash is generated, this white colored empty space is used for removal of the ash, and it is having lid at the top. Now this is the chimney. Chimney means the passage through which burnt gases are escaped to the environment. This is again a pit crucible furnace of the second design. You can see in detail the picture of this. This is the ground level. In below ground level we have made a concrete structure, rectangular structure, in which we have placed the steel shell which is lined with refractory line. You can clearly see the bricks. Here square side bricks, you can see these are the refractory bricks. They are protecting the steel shell from getting damaged, and inner part of that refractory bricks is having a coke. After burning of coke or after reaching that coke to the desired combustion temperature, that crucible along with metal charge is placed at the center. This is a pit crucible furnace. Now second type is crucible furnace of bailout type. Figure shows the bailout type of crucible furnace. Bail means swirling motion of the burnt gases on the surface of this crucible. Swirling motion means before escaping that flue gases to the out, these gases are completely moving along the surface of this crucible, so that they will give maximum amount of heat to the metal charge placed inside this crucible. A bailout type furnace is raised above the ground level. We have seen the first crucible is below the ground level, but this is above the ground level, normally fired by oil or gas. Bailout type furnaces are made cylindrical so that flame may sweep around and uniformly hit the crucible. Now through the bottom opening where gas in is written, through this small opening we are carrying out the firing. After firing, the gases are swirling, means they are revolving around the surface of crucible, and that swirling motion of flue gases is called as a bailout. The forced draft is provided usually by fan, so that oil or gas after burning it is swirling around the surface of crucible and the metal is melted, and after getting the required temperature, the crucible is removed from the top and it is taken to the pouring station. This is crucible furnace of bailout type. Next is crucible furnace of tilting type. Here in first two cases we can remove the crucible to pour the molten metal, but here crucible is fixed. Inside this furnace crucible is fixed. if I have to remove the molten metal from this crucible, I have to tilt this furnace so that from this top hole the molten metal will come out. Prepared where larger amount of metals are melted. First two furnaces are having a small capacity as compared to this furnace. This furnace is prepared where larger amount of metals are melted. By tilting, the molten metal is poured into the ladle. At the top, hole is provided. Through that hole, we are removing the molten metal into the ladle, and that ladle we are taking to the pouring station. Capacity is up to 500 kg or more, and this furnace may be coke, oil or gas fired. As the furnace is tilted to remove the molten metal, and this furnace is called as a crucible furnace of tilting type. It is having pedestals at the bottom. These two are the pedestals on which we have to tilt this furnace to remove the molten metal. Next one is stationary gas or oil fired crucible furnace. This outer, it is having outer steel shell which is having refractory lining inside. Means this hatching line is refractory lining, and outside it is having a steel shell. Flame sweep around outside of the crucible which contains charge to be made. Again here at the center crucible is placed, which is again made up of graphite or silicon carbide or other suitable refractories which will withstand very high temperature of the molten metal. Here gas or oil as a fuel is coming inside this furnace. Here burning is carried out, and the forced draft is provided so that the heated gas is swirling around the surface of crucible. Burnt gases escape through the hole provided in the cover. After complete motion of this heated gas around the surface of crucible, they are escaping to the environment through the cover. This is the stationary gas or oil fired crucible furnace. Again it is placed above the ground level, and for removal of the molten metal we have to remove the cover and we have to take out the crucible, and it is taken to the pouring station. This is stationary gas or oil fired crucible furnace. Next one is stationary coke fired crucible furnace. Here you can see this is the steel shell which is lined with refractory lining from the inside. At the center coke bed is formed and it is ignited. Again the working is same. After reaching of that coke bed to the maximum stage of combustion, we have to remove this coke to the left side and right side, and at the center we have to place this crucible. Here blower is provided, so that the function of blower is to supply compressed air for the combustion of this coke. This is primarily used for non-ferrous metals, because by using a coke we cannot achieve a more temperature as like gas or oil. That's why this is used for non-ferrous metal. Furnace is of a cylindrical shape. Preparation involved first to make a deep bed of coke in the furnace. At the center of this furnace we have to form a deep bed of coke. Burn the coke till it attains the state of maximum combustion. After starting of ignition we have to start compressed air through this blower, so that this coke will burn completely and it will reach to the stage of maximum combustion. And after that we have to insert the crucible at the center of the coke bed, and after getting molten metal we have to remove the crucible and take it to the pouring station. This is a stationary coke fired crucible furnace. Now next part we will see, that is the pouring equipments. First equipment is a holding ladle. Function of this holding ladle is to hold the molten metal taken from the furnace, or this holding ladle is acting as a midpoint of furnace and small ladles, that is a one-man ladle, two-man ladle, shank ladle. All these are the other ladles in which we are taking metal from this holding ladle. At the top this holding ladle is having a hole, means through this hole we are pouring metal inside this holding ladle. At the bottom this holding ladle is having another hole through which metal is ladled out, or metal is taken out into the small ladles. This is having a steel shell. It is cylindrical in cross section and usually lined with fire bricks from the inner surface. It is large receiving ladle from which molten metal is distributed to smaller ladles for pouring into the molds. It holds molten metal temporarily. It can receive and supply molten metal simultaneously. Temporary reservoir of the molten metal is a holding ladle. it will store the metal on temporary basis and it will supply metal to the small ladles. This is the holding ladle. Next one pouring equipment is a lip pouring ladle. You can see at the top this ladle is having a shape like a lip. That's why this ladle is called as a lip pouring ladle. And the pouring of molten metal into the mold is taking place like pouring of water from the jug. That's why this is called as a lip pouring ladle. Action is like a pouring of water from a jug. As a slag is coming on the top, it is difficult to pour the clean metal. You can see inside this ladle at the top surface you can observe a black line. This black line is nothing but a slag. As and when we are starting a pouring of metal into the mold cavity, slag will also enter inside the mold cavity. It may be conveyed by crane and tilted by hand, wheel or the lever. Molten metal enters the mold with a less momentum. As we are pouring from the top, molten metal has a more less momentum, but chances of contamination of slag with the metal is taking place because slag is at the top and pouring is also carried out from the top side. This is lip pouring ladle. Next one is teapot ladle. Here opening is at the middle point. That's why the slag which is floating on the surface of metal is not coming along with metal inside the mold cavity. Clean metal you can feed by using this teapot ladle. We will see this. It resembles ordinary teapot except that the pouring spout is inside the body. In a case of teapot, actual teapot, the pouring equipment is at the top, but in case of this teapot ladle, pouring spout is inside the body. In this figure, only this small opening through which metal enters and remaining part of this furnace is closed. Since molten metal existing at the bottom is clean, it is free from slag. This ladle is conveyed by the crane and tilted by hand wheel and prepared for pouring of the steel. Clean metal is fed by using this teapot ladle because metal from the bottom of this furnace enters inside the mold cavity at the first and afterwards metal from the top, and at the metal on the top surface it is having a slag. Next is bottom pour ladle. It has a hole at the bottom and which is suitably stoppered by a vertical rod having a graphite plug. You can see here this is the stopper. The stopper is having graphite plug at the bottom. Means as and when I want molten metal into the mold cavity, I will open this stopper or I will move the stopper in the upward direction so that metal will enter into the mold cavity. When my requirement is over, I will move this stopper in the downward direction and I will close the supply of metal. Metal at the bottom is almost clean and slag is only present at the top surface. That's why clean metal is fed by using this ladle also as like a teapot ladle. It helps pouring clean and slag free molten metal. Molten metal enters in a case of this bottom pour ladle with more momentum or high momentum as compared to teapot ladle or lip pouring ladle. Here momentum is more and due to higher momentum there may be chances of damaging of the mold cavity. So we have to take utmost precaution while pouring of metal by using this bottom pour ladle. Now these are some of the pouring equipments. Again, hand ladle. This hand ladle is operated by a single person and this is a shank ladle. This shank ladle is having more capacity as compared to hand ladle, and this shank ladle is operated by the two persons or the two workers. Here these are the small capacity ladles used for actual pouring inside the mold cavity, hand ladle and shank ladle. Here unit 2, that is molding processes, is ending. In the next lecture we will start unit 3, that is fettling, cleaning and inspection of the casting.